guys, we're camped up beside a highway, so hopefully the audio is okay today. But what we're doing is something that I think is going to be pretty cool. Show you guys a bit of an insight into how I budget for a season and what it costs basically to be a privateer racer here in Australia doing the national series. So something I do each year before the season starts is I do a breakdown of everything that I think is going to cost me throughout the year. So whether it be bikes, training, the van, you know, just any cost related to going racing. So yeah, this video is going to be about the 2021 season budget that I've come up with. So I do it all on Excel. I break it down into individual categories to then go to a budget summary at the end. So at the moment, I've got it broken down to 8 pieces. So we'll start, I got bikes and performance parts, and then race travel, training, bike maintenance and spares, entries, licenses, accommodation, van maintenance and setup, and gear. If I could get all those categories sorted, then basically that's my year done. So I'm going to get started with bikes and performance. So basically what this category covers is the bike itself, so upfront buying the bikes, and then any parts that I'm going to do to it to build my base setting, basically like the base bike. How I work it is a little different to most. I try not to get a practice and a race bike, simply because I don't have the budget to get 2 of everything, and I don't want a practice and race bike that feels a whole lot different. So how I work it is I'll get the one bike, I'll build it up as a race bike, so I'll put my goods forks, good shock in there, put all the good parts on it, and then the other bike will sort of just sit there spare, ready to go, all my levers, everything set up, ready to go if I ever do need it. And then once my race practice bike, the one that I'm riding, once it gets a certain amount of hours on it and I feel like it's time to get rid of it, I'll sell it, and I'll basically swap all my good parts over to the other bike, sell that one, and then sort of just do a circle like that. So I've always got a spare bike there, and then my race and practice bike is sort of the one, if that makes sense. So moving on from there to the actual budget. So right now at the top of the list, I've got 2021 KTM 450. We found a retail price of $13,345. So obviously pretty big number, and got to get 2 of them. So that's 26 grand just for the bikes. Right, so once I've got the bikes, got to build them up for the year. So what I've got on my list is Pro Circuit full system pipe, $1,600. Pro Circuit linkage arm and knuckle, $650. 2 high compressed pistons for a rebuild, so that's $1,360. Vortex ignition, $935. Quick throttle, $315. 3 plastic kits, $750. 6 graphics kits, $1,740. Alright, so that comes to a grand total of $34,000. Big number. Hopefully we can get some sponsors to help us out with that. Okay, next up we got bike maintenance and spares. So how I work out the bike maintenance, we did a rough estimate of how many hours I'm going to do for the year. So we worked that out about 200 hours for the year, if I'm able to train properly and as much as I want to. So in saying that, for all the parts that I've got on here and bike maintenance stuff, we sort of worked out how many hours I'll need per part before replacing it. So just going through the list quickly here. So like grips, I'm thinking every second week or something like that, I'll change out a set of grips. Sprockets front and rear, I did 20 hours to sprockets, chain of sprockets. So I don't know if people think that's a lot, not enough, but I think that should get me through sweet. I do my oils in the bike, engine oil and all that, each 5 hours. So there's a fair few oil changes in that, obviously, 100 hours. Engine rebuilds, being a 450, they're a pretty low revving engine, so I'm thinking top end rebuild at 50 hours for each of the bikes, and then we just got a bit of labor in that. So top of my list here, I've already got my suspension all set up for me, so it's just servicing, and we got suspension servicing first up for $1,200 for the year. Bars, 2 of those, $338. Grips, 18 sets for $270. Tires, 28 tires, around 300, 360.
Do you mean 3,000?
3,360. Sprockets front and rear, 10 of those, $1,000, and then a chain, 10 of those, $1,000. So I'll do chains and sprockets all at the same time. And then we did a breakdown of all the oils and lubricants I think I'd use versus the hours I'm going to ride. We worked that out to be about $2,300. Engine rebuilds, got that worked out at $1,300. And then the labour on top of that, $2,600. So that's the bike maintenance and spares. That comes to, again, a big total of $13,432. Another big chunk to add in there, and we'll move on to the next one. Alright, so moving on to the gear category. What we've got down here is I've got 2 helmets, 2 sets of boots, 3 sets of goggles, all my tear-offs, roll-offs, and then 4 sets of riding gear. So I've worked all the prices off high-end stuff, so I've got Airoh Helmets, got goggles, unit clothing, that sort of thing. And that one comes to a total of $5,000. So my biggest expense, apart from the actual bikes, is my training side of things. I plan to be training on the bike 3 to 4 times a week over a 35-week training season, which I've worked out from January through August, which the first few months will be like a pre-season training, and then obviously the race season. So basically the expenses from it is going to come from track fees, which will be around $50 a session. Each time I go ride, it'll probably be about $25 in fuel. The van each week's probably going to cost me about $100. And then as well, because we're on the road, we've got gym membership, which will be about $15 a week. So then I can train while wherever we are, I can still keep my fitness up. So that actually comes to a total of $15,000. Sort of surprised me to see that. Just the training itself is so expensive. Like I said, it's the biggest part other than bikes. Moving on from there to the next one, we go into entry fees, because obviously we're starting to get into the season now. So entries and licenses. A national senior license is $335 for the year, and then you've got to get a club membership on top of that, which is about $50. Those two things on top of all the entry fees for the year, we've estimated at around $3,195. Honestly though, we're really pulling that out of nowhere, because with COVID and everything that's going on, there's new promoters to the national championships this year. Typically it'll be $280 or around that per entry, but we just don't know. No one knows what's going on. So I heard a rumor that it's going to be 7 rounds over 5 weekends. Other people tell me something different, so I sort of just worked out roughly what I thought it was going to be, so I don't come short or anything like that. Hopefully we get as much racing as possible and it all runs sweet, but at the moment it's a bit of a guesstimate. So again, with the race travel, we really have no idea what's going on. Me and Michaela sat down to do the schedule and to do the budget, and we were like, well, what do we do? So we basically we just went on Google Maps and made a big loop from like Gympie to Toowoomba, down to South Australia, Murray Bridge, a couple like Wonthaggi, a couple of the old Victorian rounds, New South Wales, then back up to Queensland. And we just got the Ks from there, because we just, like I said, no one really knows what's going on. But we will be saving on the travel side of things, because we are living in the van, so we're not going to be having to do any from Queensland down to Victoria, then back up to Queensland again trips. We'll just travel down to each race. So we'll go to Victoria, and then wherever the next race is, we'll travel along to there and then go to the next race. Feel like we're sacrificing, obviously, not having a home, but we can save ourselves so much by doing these little things. So we sort of roughly worked out then with the race travel will cost us $1,300, which is a lot cheaper than previous years, like I said, because we're not actually driving as far. But it is just a number I pulled out of my bum, really. We have no idea. And then, so moving on to there, obviously, like I said, we're going from race to race. So the accommodation is pretty well going to be caravan parks. We plan to do 4 days in a caravan park, and then the other 3 days of the week we'll just free camp. We like to stay in a caravan park as much as we can afford, just because they're comfortable. You got the showers and everything there, and you don't have to worry about the police knocking on your door, kicking you out of wherever you're parked up. So for that one, we've got $5,600 for the season. will be what we think we'll have to pay in caravan park fees, and then just like other sort of camping fees. Moving on from there, we're starting to pretty well get it all sorted. So we've got a van maintenance one, which is basically just your servicing, tires, rego, that sort of thing, which comes to $3,100. I think that's it. Hey, like that's obviously, we've gone pretty in depth, show you guys a lot. That's basically the whole budget, how we work it out. There's a lot of work that's gone into this, and we do have, so when we go to the overall budget summary, we'll get Michaela to chuck it up on the screen here. So we've got a grand total of $80,821. So when that just sounds ridiculous. Sorry guys, the camera went flat. So $80,000, obviously that's a huge number. It's a bit of a scary number, which is why this time of year is super important. It's October right now, which is when a lot of us racers start approaching sponsors for the following year. Because like I know I want to go racing, I'm going to go racing next year, and it's just I live in a van. I don't have $80,000 in my bank account to throw at the racing. So yeah, this time of year we're approaching sponsors. Michaela and I are working pretty hard on getting resumes sorted, trying to approach people, let them know, you know, that this is what I want to do and this is how I'm going to try to do it. So we thought it might be cool to see if you guys are interested in doing a sponsorship video, where we'll run through a bit of like how we approach sponsors and how we are going to try to make this work, get that number down a little bit. So if you guys are interested in that, let us know in the comments, and yeah, we'll keep working and try to get ready.